That's something, there are some essential qualities that something must have. And I'll tell you why. It's something that exists by itself without being brought into existence, so it has self-existence. Meaning its existence is not dependent on something else. So if you exist, then you would have certain qualities of existence while existing. What we see in this world now, we see transformation. Things transform from one to the other. Without this something that existed always, without possessing a will and self-awareness, no transformation will happen. Can I give you an example? Do you drink tea, coffee, milk, whatever, right? You do.
Yes.
Imagine you go into your kitchen and you have all of that available. Say you want to make tea, 2 sugars, right?
Yeah.
Your tea is in the cupboard, which is, you have to open the door.
Yes.
The milk is in the fridge.
Yes.
The water is in the tap.
Yes.
Right? Yeah? There is a cooker which needs lighting to get the fire, to bring the kettle in by putting the water, right? All of that. If you sit there and wait for a cup of tea,
Yes.
would it ever happen in front of you, a good cup of tea with 2 sugars, just because you sit there and you think things will happen by itself?
Yes. No. You have to make it.
You need a willing agent to make it.
Yes.
Whether you programmed a robot to do that for you, or a human being like yourself. You can sit there for millions and zillions of years. These things would not self-assemble and come together and make a tea.
Yes.
This universe, with all this transformation, in all this different organization and complexities, and yet harmonious organization, you are put together in a particular harmony. Your heart, when they were developing as cells, they started aggregating to that place to form the heart tissue. They didn't make the liver. They all were exactly programmed to go where they're supposed to go. This kind of transformation and assembly, which is so organized, cannot come by itself. Or it just happens. You need a willing agent to do that. That something must possess will and self-awareness, and must possess power, and must possess knowledge, because that's what we see. That something is now your originator, who has a will, who is self-awareness, and who has power and knowledge, and his power would not be limited, his knowledge would not be limited, and there cannot be more than one of those things, because otherwise there's a conflict of will. We already have come to a conclusion of a creator, originator. Sometimes creator thinks like, oh, I don't believe in a creator. Originator, transformer of all of those things, who is absolute and not deficient. So it's not something that is difficult for us to come to the realization by rational faculty of ours, intellectual reasoning, that there is a creator, and this creator is one. This creator has willed us into existence. Next question will be, why are we created? For a purpose. And once you know the purpose by looking at what this creator has communicated to us in the form of communication through certain agents, which we call prophets and messengers, communication in the form of scriptures, religion makes now sense, that there is a God. Because when we say God, we are saying this agent is worthy of our gratitude, worthy of our, to be grateful, to be thankful. He's worthy of having that. If you saved me from an accident, I should be thanking you, right?
Yes, definitely.
If God gives you life and gives you all the things in your faculties, right? Sustain life. Should you not be grateful and should you not be thankful? That's what the essence of worship is. To thank God, to glorify God, to praise God, to submit to His will. So, if you're convinced because of it is something that other people believe, so now you can be convinced that it makes sense to believe, that it is reasonable to believe. It is something that our heart and our mind can accept, that it is the truth.
Yes.
So this is what we say, that is the belief that we should arrive at, and this originator, we say he is Allah. In Arabic, he has all the beautiful names of perfection: the most merciful, the most kind, the most loving, the one who is just, the one who is the only, the first and the last. You will see a lot of these names described of our Creator to know Him, because remember, once you know that there's something that always there, and He created us, He is one with a will and created us for a purpose, you'd want to know more about Him. You would not be able to know about this being just by speculation, because we are finite individuals. We have a limit of how much we know. Do you agree so far? Yes. The only way we can be certain and sure is when our Creator, originator, informs us, then we are no longer into any speculation mode. We will be certain in what He is and who He is. So we can ask you, well and well, to look into the Quran, which we say is a final revelation or final guidance from God, final book from God, and look into the life of Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wasalam, the final messenger from God, Prophet Muhammad, so that you can see where the will of God is. Because you want to live according to the will of God. Because you want to submit to this will of God to fulfill the reason why you're created for. Rather than just simply to be happy and go for momentary happiness of, drinking, womanizing, drugging and whatever makes you happy. People go for this momentary happiness, right? Some people are happy with drugs and rock and roll and women and sex and whatever, right? But they don't last. You want everlasting happiness, which is the hereafter, where we're provided. Not this 120 years or 30 years of your life. It will just go. We will die. But if we do not fulfill our purpose, we would not go to the place of happiness, eternal happiness. We may even end up going to a place of torment and torture. We don't want to do that, so we have to avoid being punished by looking at what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to follow. And this is what is enshrined in the guidance of God in the Quran and in the example of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I humbly request you, being two very smart and intelligent individuals, look into Islam. If it makes sense, embrace it. If it doesn't make sense yet, ask questions and ask Muslims, can you explain that to me? Once you realize this is the truth, accept it. Because truth is what is going to make you free from being enslaved to worshipping your desires, worshipping the culture, worshipping celebrities and pop stars, worshipping a nation or a flag. It will free you from this enslavement, and you will be worshipping the one who deserves our worship. Is that reasonable?
Yes, very reasonable.
Let's leave it to that. It's getting cold, I can feel that.
Freezing.
All the best, take care, my friends will and will, but research more.
Thank you.